I mean, I will risk whatever I gotta risk in order to make sure you're okay. But no, I don't think in real life we would sit here like sitting ducks. Moving on, since we are now back to recording. Whoops. I don't know what button I pressed. That was good. Okay, so before we got distracted, we were talking about this guy and his stupid path, and I agree, it's a dumb example. Because, like, why do we even care about this guy's 10-second walk? No, I said he walked at an increasing rate from 0 to 2. He rested for 5 seconds. He returned at a slower rate from 7 to 10 seconds. Why do we care about this guy's 10-second walk? I don't know. Maybe this is the guy we're supposed to be watching. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, and I don't know why my light's weird. Let's see if we can adjust our lives. Autofocus. Better. Just what we need. Random screaming in the hallway. That's not terrifying at all. Oh, it's because we didn't open the curtains. That's why it's weird. And then we're on our last one. It says, Kimmy thinks that the graph and table represent the same linear equation. Carly disagrees. Who is correct? And we can all get a point because we survived the lockdown. I should add that. You don't have a point for surviving the lockdown. Even though Miss Thompson apparently doesn't know how to lock the door.
I don't know if I would have survived.
He's technically dead.
Everybody else.
I know. I think technically I lose a point. Good thing I don't get a number strip.
Did you get in trouble?
No.
She was just like,
Yeah. No. I normally don't get in trouble.
I didn't know if teachers got in trouble or something.
Oh, I can, but no, I normally don't get in trouble. No. Okay, so does someone think Kimmy or Carla? And they're going to hear this and be like, oh, yes. Carla is not linear. They're not the same function.
Wait, just kidding.
Kimmy is correct. Kimmy's
Okay. I just need somebody to get their group some points and explain your reasoning.
I'll tell you what. Wait, that's not all the points match up.
Okay, so there are two arguments we can take for this. So you can say, obviously, we're all going to agree that Kimmy is right. Kimmy's correct. There are two arguments you can take. Nick took the first argument, and his group can have a point of that the points match. Say it again, Daniel. Okay, so he's being very technical, but for the most part, 0, -1, yep. 1, 1, yep. 2, 3, yep. And then 3, 5, technically I guess it's off the grid, but you and I could assume it was about right, so I'm going to say yep. That's what Daniel's questioning, the 3, 5, because technically I'm assuming. You know I haven't seen you assume. Okay, so Nick's argument is great, and the points do match. However, you just took a test on stuff like this, so I'm kind of hoping you're going to use a different argument for this as to why those represent the same function. On the test, when you saw a table, what were you supposed to do? Find that rate of change page. Find this rate of change. Rate of change is the same thing as what? Slope. And I heard it from 2, 3, and 5. You can have a point. Jax, did you say slope? I didn't hear it from y'all. Okay, thank you. You're always so honest. Okay, so I see that we're changing at a constant rate of 1 over here. I see that we're changing at a constant rate of 2 over here. So my rate of change is 2 over 1, which is just 2. So I could go to this line, our intercept's at -1, and count. Does it actually have a slope of 2? So up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, yes it does. Down 2 left 1, yes it does. So you could argue, which the one I would prefer, is with rate of change. Can you show their slopes match? They both have the same rate of change. Okay, are there any questions about these math workshops that took way, way too long due to all the things? Okay, then I want to go straight to the back of your doodle notes. Daniel is right. We've already practiced graphing once. I'm just going to practice it again with you and make sure we're on the same page. I believe that everyone in the room can evaluate now. I just don't really feel confident with everyone's graphing skills. So I'm going to do the top one really quickly, and then I'm going to ask for help with the second one. So just a general reminder, when we graph, there are 3 steps. The first step for me is got to do with the fences. The second step is that we graph, but when you graph, you better use a pencil. And that third step is we argue over those fence points. So as a general reminder, we're pretending like these functions are neighbors, and at some point we have some boundary issues. That's why we argue over the fence points. Okay, so I should have a fence at -1 and 2, and I can tell that from the inequalities. So I'm going to put a fence at -1, and I'm going to put a fence at 2. The other day I was using solid fences because it's easier for you to see. That's really teaching you poor habits because you ought to use dotted ones. Okay, now you don't have to tell Mr. Moore I said this, but sometimes he's smarter than me. Sometimes he's smarter than me. Sometimes. The guy next door. So what he explains is, because some people don't understand, this is just 3 different lines. So he explains it as you need to graph y equals x plus 7. You need to graph y equals 3x plus 1. And you need to not write in pencil when people can't see. You have to graph the top one. You have to graph the middle one, the 3x plus 1. And you have to graph the last one, y equals x. Some people aren't realizing that those 3 things are standing for those 3 equations. And then Mr. Moore is not like me. I've done step 1, I drew my fences. On step 2, when I graph with a pencil, I tend to graph too far and erase. He never does that. He's smart enough to realize this top one's to the left of the fence, the middle one's in the middle of the 2 fences, and then the third one down's on the right side of the fence, so he doesn't feel the need to really erase. Don't ruin the way he told me. Don't ruin my image. But that's not how I do it. I'm just telling you how other people think. Lord Jesus, help me.
The drill is now over. We can go back to our normal classrooms. The drill is now over. Thank you.
Okay. So we have y equals x plus 7. So I go up to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I put my point. And then my slope is 1. So I go up 1 over 1. And I graph this whole big old line. My fridge. So I graph the line y equals x plus 7. Is anyone confused on how I graph or how I graph that line? I went up to 7 and then up 1 over 1 and then down 1 right 1. Down 1 left 1. You know what I did, I think. Okay. Come in. I locked it, of course. Come on, baby, now.
Oh.
You're not who I wanted.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. Tyler, why are you getting us interrupted again? My YouTube video? Incomplete. I don't know, Tyler. It looks like an award or an honor or something. You invited to something. I don't know. Okay, so I graphed in pencil, but I get to erase. I only really want this to the left of that fence. So I get to erase everything above that first fence. And then you and I are going to argue over this point sitting on that fence line of should we shade it in or should we not. So I am going to do the top guy in purple now, because I like to color things in. So this purple line, and we've got this point sitting on the fence, and we're going to argue over it. Should we shade in this circle or should we not? We should, because why? Because the equal to. Yes. Paige, your group gets a point for that. Okay, are there any questions about that top purple guy? Okay, well then let's graph the middle. So it's 3x plus 1, so we go up to 1. And then our slope is 3x, so we got to go up 3, over 1, up 3, over 1. Same thing down here, down 3, left 1, down 3, left 1. And I could keep going all day, but again, I'm getting pretty smart, and I'm starting to understand the middle guy is really going to be between those 2 fences. So yes, I've graphed it up here, but you and I both know I don't really want him below here, below that pink fence line, and I don't really want him above that pink fence line. So the spots I did above and below, I'm going to erase, because I don't need him there. I only need him in the middle. Okay, and then at the moment, with my brown middle guy, I've left my circles open. Should I leave my circles open, or should I fill them in? I should leave them open because it's just less than. I should leave them open because it's just less than. Are there any questions about the middle brown guy? Okay, well then the last guy I'm going to do in pink, which is y equals x. Now, you and I both overthink things. Y equals x is the same thing as y equals 1x plus 0. If you need to write that out for yourself, you can. So my intercept's at 0. I go up 1 over 1. And as I go in life, I'm getting smarter and smarter. I don't even bother to go over here because I know I really only want him above that second fence line. Okay, so I'm going to do this one in pink. And we've got this second fence line. And our third step again is to argue the point. So for the pink graph, do I fill it in at that spot?
Yes.
Why? Because it's equal to. And 2 and 3 can have a point. Alright, are there any questions about this one? Then I need someone at not 2 or 3 to explain the next example to me. So at table 1, 4, or 5, can you at least tell me on the next one, where would I put my fences? Where does my fence go? No. Yes, Thailand, and Thailand's group gets the point. So my fence goes at -7. -1, -2, -3, 4, 5, 6, 7. -7. So I drew my fence. This one only has one fence because there's only 2 graphs, so they share that one common thing. So we don't have 2 fences this time. Awesome. Less work for us. Step 2, we need a graph and pencil. If you need to write it out, you can. We're graphing these 2 lines, but if you need to write that out to yourself, oh, I'm graphing 2/3 x plus 6. Oh, I'm graphing y equals -x. You can if that helps. Okay, so for the top one, can someone explain at 1, 4, or 5 how to graph 2/3 x plus 6? You're not at 1, 4, or 5. Yes, dear?
You put the point at 6.
And then here's a question that someone asked me last period. When I put my point at 6, do I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Do I do 6 on the y-axis or do I do 6 on my fence?
I have a question.
I have an answer.
Why did you put it at 8, not 7?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can we just pretend I put it at 7? I meant to put it at 7.
Am I tripping?
No. No. Yeah, you're not tripping. Never happened, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I put my fence at -7 for real this time. Draw fence. Okay, that was a good question. And then the second step was to graph it. And then I asked Jax, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I supposed to actually put, now I'm questioning my whole life, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I supposed to put when it's y equals 2/3 x plus 6? Do I put the 6 on my y-axis or do I put my 6 on my fence line?
Oh, axis.
It's still the axis. It's still old school graphing. It's still y equals mx plus b, where b is on the y-axis. Don't overthink your life. Okay, so then our slope is 2/3. So what does that mean I need to do? Table 1, you get a point. Up 2 over 3. Table 1, you get another point. Down 2, left 3. Down 2, left 3. Jack Sugar got a point because she answered things. And now this example stinks because you and I both know, well, Mr. Compton can't connect the dots today. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's like when you're always in a hurry, that's always when you make your most mistakes in life. You and I both know that we worked so hard to graph this beautiful line, and we don't need him except below that fence. We only need him down below the fence. I'm going to make him brown. And no, he doesn't go through a nice pretty spot, sadly enough. Okay, and I think, and it doesn't really look open, but should it be open or closed? It should be open. Why? Because it's not an equal to, and that's how table 5 got their point. And then 3, we're trying to decide about those fence points. Okay, so we're halfway done. We graphed the top guy. We now need to graph the bottom guy, and it's y equals negative x. If you need to think about it, y equals negative x is the same thing as y equals negative 1x plus 0. If you need to write that out to yourself, you can. So I put my intercept at 0, and I graph with a slope of negative 1. And I could keep on going all day, but you and I both know that we're running low on time, so I'm just going to draw a graph pretty fast. I'm going to color this one pink. So I got my graph. I know I want him on the right side of that fence. We just need to argue over this point where he hits the fence. Do I fill it in or do I not? Why? Because it's equal to, and now table 2 and 3 still in obligatory line. Okay, are there any questions about this? Then I feel like my whole life has been thrown off, so I have to say the words again just to make sure we're on the same page. You have to practice graphing on your own. You follow it when I'm doing it, you answer my questions, but you're going to have to practice on your own. That's why you have 13 problems of your own that have to be done by Monday. Those problems obviously take time, hence why Cassidy gave me the big deer eyes, because they take time. She ought to start those as soon as possible. Have I seen Cassidy's Homer Simpson? If I haven't, I need to. Cassidy is going to start on her graphing homework for sure, now that she's realized how many problems she has and how long that takes. For bonus and kicks and giggles, she can do the Godzilla or the horse puzzle, but she does not have to do the second page of puzzles. Okay, are there any questions before I let you do your thing? Okay, if you need help with something, I would love to help you. Today was definitely a thrown off kind of day.